Hello, golfers. You are listening to Go Podcast. My name is Morten.
And I'm Dominic St-Pierre.
And today, we don't have any guests. We have a two-person podcast. We had a lot of nice guests on lately. It was really cool to hear from other people. So what have you been up to lately?
Oh, well, the usual SaaS thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going nicely, but I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting with the idea of having this crazy growing React code base now.
Yeah.
And it's all tied with. Oh, I was going to say it's all tied to static backend, but before I continue with that, oh yeah, I just remember now. I've got I don't know if I can say that I've got hacked or something like that, but someone tried to I've got an influx, a surge of signups in static backend, and I had to cancel because it does not seem very legit, to be frank. So basically, static backend, the way the signups works is you can just enter an email address and you will receive an email and it says, you know what, you need to complete your sign up before you can start using your backend, for example, your database and whatnot. So you basically need to input a credit card. Basically, the sign-up process is made more to be done via the CLI, compared to the web interface, for example. Because in the CLI, you basically directly have a link to the Stripe dashboard and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I don't know if it was yesterday or whatever, when it was, I started to receive, I received 2 complaints from Amazon SCS. I never received those yet. They are pretty, you cannot have more than 1% of complaints I think it's in a month. So you should be extremely careful with that. So a complaint is obviously when someone reports spam and whatnot. So what I believe happened is that someone or something was hitting the submit button with a lot of, I don't know, real-ish email and whatnot. So people were receiving the onboarding email asking them to place a credit card there. So that is very intriguing. So, I mean, why do we have these things on the internet? What is the goal actually? What is the goal of such action? I don't know at all. But I look at the database and there is, more than 250 sign up in a very, very, very short time. So I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? Let's try to cancel that. So I directly just disable all new login, or not login, but sign up from static backend. So now it and that made me think about the fact that I'm using that again with my SaaS, and the code is open, and now people are armed with these crazy model now that they can just ask things like, I don't know,
Please hack.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, wow, this is interesting. But again, I mean, nothing happened other than some people, around 250 people receive some emails asking them to complete the sign up to static backend, which is, I got reported for that. So I was, oh, come on, man. What are we doing here? This is crazy. I mean, this is an open source project after all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it will just be that for now, because I don't even have any 1 minute to even consider maintaining, properly maintaining static backend, the manage aspect of that. I don't care about that. I will never make money. It was never about that. So I'm just closing it completely. It will just be a good old open source project for now. Not for now, but for all of the remaining of its life. So how fast can you turn off signups it turns out that it was pretty fast. But okay. I just I basically added an environment variable, and when it's set to true, it just returned I think it's a 522 or 4, or maybe a 403 forbidden and whatnot, and that was it. I mean, like 4 or 5 line of code just deployed that very fast because it was happening. I don't know if it was still happening, and I don't know, other than the email that some people received, there's just some schema that were created on Postgres. Yeah. I don't know. Frankly, I don't really know how to clean that up. But I don't. It's not like it's taking any sizable storage usage and whatnot. But so yeah, it was deployed in an area. Fortunately, because I was recently in the review of this gigantesque PR that I received. I talked about that last time we spoke. Someone took the replacement of Zerolog by Slug, and that was a major PR because I had a lot of structure that were receiving a logger, passed by for dependencies and injection and whatnot, and just the cleanup that was done, I needed to thoroughly. So I have a small taste of what it is to be in a place where you are receiving big PR, and it's interesting because even though the episode is not posted yet, and you did not hear what happened, but I interviewed Andre with Twig last week, and that was one of the aspect of Twig that versus Git. The size of the PR with LLMs is getting out of hand, and this is something to be concerned about. I would be very, very interested to see how the day-to-day work for software, senior software engineer has changed a bit, and is the size of the PR now, because I mean, you can have so many outputs that get generated from one prompt now that a PR can be just out of hand. This is interesting. So I was happy that I already merged that one. I was not in a state where I need to turn off the sign up, but now I'm in the middle of the review of that thing, so I will. Yeah. It was not fun. So for an open source project, this is the kind of effort and situation that I'm like, okay, you know what? I tried to bring that, and this is, I don't have time to handle this, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it's pretty. I was even thinking of just reclosing the project again, but on the other side, I was looking at the number of in the insights, the GitHub insights and whatnot. There is a lot of pull and clone. Yeah, this is the word. So I mean, again, there is something there, but wow, this is this is not fun. So I was thinking about that a little bit towards my SaaS. Would it have any impact? But I think I think it's fine. It's still a 5 years old, system and whatnot. It was battle tested already.
Yeah.
But again, this is just not fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking you had a bot problem, or what? Was it a bot problem? That
Well,
you,
I guess.
yeah, you don't know.
I guess so, because I don't think a human could fill out. Well, if you are a human and you are doing that in your life, then I mean, get a life. So, I don't know why someone would fill out that many, but
No.
But again, I don't see the point, because it's not like they could send an email that they wrote or something like that. So even if you want to spam, I don't get it. I don't really understand. But again, it might be to damage the reputation of the sending, because at the end of the day, I got 2 reported complaints.
Mm.
So maybe that was that. But again, I mean, why? Why someone would want to attack a entity that is making no money at all, and that is giving a system to to the open source world. I don't understand that at all.
No.
But
I used to have like a subscription form for a newsletter on my personal site, and that also had like so many. Especially there's a lot of like German emails that got signed up for that. Which, I mean, I don't know why. It's a strange world at times.
Yeah. I don't see the value of that. I don't understand, and I understand, entities that tries to act bigger company and maybe try to, I don't know, get any kind of money at the end of the day, but just to get some email sent, I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is intriguing. But again, I mean, static backend is taking way too much of my time. It's time I should be focused on the SaaS and whatnot. Some other things that I did that I really, really enjoy, and it's kind of rare that I'm that positive with LLMs, but that task was that task was so nice. Well, first of all, I built myself a small revenue projection. What is my doomsday? I don't recall if I talked about it or not yet. But it's the kind of tool that I would never had, built myself before, because frankly, it does not bring much to the table. But once you have it, you say, wow, this thing is nice. So it's kind of project. The revenue that I do have. Let's imagine a CSV file that I'm at the end of each month. I'm recording the current MRR, and I do have a small formula that says, if you grow 20% of a month over month, which is the industry standard at the beginning at least, this is the starting balance in the bank account. This is the amount of money that it costs me per month. What is my doomsday at the moment? It really called me to see that, because the growth this month was like in this 700%, which is normal, because when you pass, it's just the second month that I'm having revenue. So from first month was like very, very low. So the percentage seems crazy at first. So I added all the percentage from Stripe in there, the calculation, and I added a 10% for expenses and whatnot. So I mean, like I was saying, I would never have built that thing alone, but now I don't know, the value that it brings me, it's kind of crazy, because first of all, it calmed me, like I was saying. when you are going all in a project like that, you need to be careful with your your runway and whatnot. What is when this thing is it going to work? And what is I like the doomsday at the moment. So it's a month. It's a year and a month. It's not this year. So I'm okay for a couple of months. But the point is, it's a nice formula. I think I near the 1,000 MRR. I say, you know what, I will probably not be able to bring 20% at it's still $200 in new MRR at 1K. So I say drop that to 15% at 2, from 2 to 5. Let's drop that to 10, and after that, let's have that at 2 to 5. It's 10%, and after that, 5K and plus. Let's say 8% is probably for me an okay-ish. So this does not really take into account the churn and whatnot, but so that's why I lowered down the amount. So when you are building a company, these numbers, these projections are nice, because now I know exactly how much should I do next month to to stay on my curve, if I can say that. This is the hockey stick. This is the famous SaaS ramp of death, or whatever. And as it compounds, it will, you're growing more and more at some point. But at the beginning, 20% of $20 is like nothing, right? It's $4 or whatever. So but just to see that, okay, you know what, this month I need to do I need to bring $5 or whatever in MRR. So to continue that curve, I just like this tool. And again, it's a Python script that I would not have written myself. This is not fun to do, but again, that was great. Another example, if I can say that, I have this small help system in my app, and it's all about onboarding at the moment. I've been saying that a lot lately in the pod. Onboarding, making sure that people understand what they are doing, and what action, and how can you help them accomplish anything that they need to do. So I have this small help button at the bottom of the screen, and it's contextual to where they are in the application, and there is tutorial. It was all JSON-based file, not file. Imagine two gigantesque JSON file, one in French, one in English. The guide was there. It was not really humanly editable. So I took a small model. It's very rare that I'm changing model in the CLI and whatnot. But I took a small model because that's a really repetitive task. I wanted to have this JSON file, or articles, if you will, translated into Markdown, into a directory, and a script to retransfer that into that format. So that way, there's nothing that change in the UI to display the knowledge base article and whatnot. But I do have the comfortability of editing that in a Markdown format. That was beautiful. This is the kind of task that you cannot do that by hand. I could have written those parser and whatnot, but again, I don't have time for that. So that was nice. And now I do have a very decent knowledge base editing flow, if I can say that, because Yes, I will admit that most of them was generated by the AI because again, question of time. The content is just shit. This is not good. It's not able to create anything meaningful in terms of content. So I now need to rewrite that. And this is where I was going before I started with my static backend tangent at first. Yet again, I started a branch called Elm. I started to try and see if porting the UI to Elm would be an option. I even created a backend, a static backend Elm library that I published. Imagine, I was. It was really nice. To be frank, I'm a huge fan of Elm since 2017, and when I had this idea, I started to research a little bit, and the author, which never updated the compiler since I think 2019, just updated. Imagine it or not, the compiler for a very tiny updates, but still the project is back alive. So I was like, okay, this is a sign. This is a sign. I will get rid of React. But yeah, no, I cannot do that. I mean, this is the same. Each time I'm trying to get rid of static backend in the backend or in the UI, I realize that this is not what I need to do now. This but it's so hard as a software engineer. The urge is so hard to have a better system or just get rid of dependencies that does not make sense anymore. That it prevents me from having a fresh head at some point. But again, I cannot do that.
But so you want to use Elm for the UI of
for the front end, instead of React. So okay. Elm is it's a small language that compiles to JavaScript basically. So it's a functional programming language, and you do have so it's Elm that invented the the Elm architecture that is reused everywhere. If you take the charm in Go, the library to build CLI, they are they have taken the idea of the update view model from Elm basically. The React Redux is based on Elm. There's a lot of things that are based on Elm. They were one of the first that with Go that had this code formatting and whatnot. I mean, it's a beautiful language. It prevents you from having to write any kind of JavaScript, TypeScript, and it just makes sense to build very, very solid application because you have basically no null and whatnot. So you have an option type. It's a little bit like Rust, where you need to pattern match on if I'm receiving this kind of JSON and this field can be empty and whatnot. You need to handle all of these cases and whatnot. So you build truly very solid application that generally does not really break in production.
Yeah. Okay.
I always like that, and this is a very, very small community. The author is sometimes finger pointed to to not publish enough updates or be open and whatnot. I don't care about that at all. I understand what he's doing. You just want to move slowly. Just this is his project, so I mean, I have no problem with that model myself. And but yeah, it would take way too long for me out of the product itself. So I still need to to complete some things, because believe it or not, I will have my biggest customer coming in September. They already created their account. When I say biggest, I mean a real, well, not a big company, but I don't know how to call that. But it's a decent company that takes a lot of modules. So their value per customer, it's just higher than everyone else. That's what I mean by big.
So this is a new one compared to the other big one you had, right? New.
The big one was regarding the volume of sales. So that one that is coming is more like, so they are taking a lot of modules. They are taking the phone, they are taking the booking, they are taking the website, they are taking the invoices, but now they are a real business, so they do in-person transaction and whatnot. So what it means, we want a physical terminal where people can slide credit card and debit card and whatnot. So I was like, okay, yeah, well, I can do that. Stripe to the rescue! Thank you very much. So they are they are multiple users. So that is the first customer that I will have that needed to have more than one user and an administrator, if you will. So there was some module that was not done for that. The booking module, well, they unfortunately use Microsoft 365 or whatever. So that means, oh crap, I need to do an integration there. So I'm all in making sure that I will have everything to support that customer, because they already opened their account, the credit card is there. It's they already taken their phone number and whatnot. I mean, this is going, it's there. So it's not the time for me to think about Helm and whatnot. I don't know if you ever had to integrate with Microsoft API thing. I would not have been able to do that if it's not for me being with an LLM and pasting my screen, because as a blind person, you need to remember that it's so hard to navigate to crazy interface, and the Azure dashboard, I don't know how to call that, this is a crazy interface. This is not accessible. This is not fun to use. And the amount of things that you need to create to get an integration with people's calendars, wow, this is not fun. Personally, I would not have done that alone without the guidance of the AI.
No.
I
mean, I've never done it because one of my first jobs, I worked at a shop, and the thing I've mentioned it before, but Denmark loves Microsoft for some reason. It's also that not that many of us, right? But it loves Microsoft in the business environment. So my first job was building like React front ends to like a Microsoft shop. So I definitely have been a little bit exposed to it, enough to know that it's probably also something I didn't want to do, but never really did it directly.
Oh yeah.
But if the money is there, you suck it up and you get over it. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But at the same time, it makes me clean up this part of my code base. So now this is an interface, because now, since I had to have a second implementation of basically the same thing, because I was offering a Google Calendar integration. So I extracted the interface. That is always nice to do in Go. That is when you do have your implementation written, and at some point when the situation arrive that, oh, you know what? maybe we need an interface there. You just create the interface, you extract the interface, and now you implement that in the new one. And this is so nice compared to what it was when I was doing .NET. Because in the .NET world, and I would probably guess the Java as well, you tend to start with your interface. So you don't even know who's going to implement that or what is going to be the real interface yet. But you have to start with an interface. And this change of mentality in Go is so refreshing, because I was not even expecting to have an interface there at some point, because it was very clear on the marketing website. This is a Google Calendar only module. The booking is this is that. But now this customer arrived, and we are using Microsoft 365 whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's time to create an interface now in Go and have what it will allows me to do is now on development, I will have an implementation, a local implementation of a fake booking and whatnot, because that is hard to test. I don't want to connect a real calendar each time I'm testing and calling an API. So now having this interface will allow me to have a completely, let's say, an offline calendar and whatnot. And this could even be an option for people to pick. It could be just sending, I don't recall what is the format of that thing, but the iCal or whatever the format. There's a format that you are sending an email that email clients understand and kind of display the right thing. So that could even be an option. So if someone is not using Google or Microsoft for some reason, that could work. But just for development purposes, this is nice. So just having this interface now allows me to just be more comfortable in development, because as the software is growing, this is testing is so hard when you have so many integration like that. Just the Stripe one as well. We are so lucky to have the Stripe CLI. I was talking about the real terminal. So they have a simulator of a terminal that you run inside your terminal, if that makes sense. So you can fake, I just swipe a credit card, but it failed, and so you can replicate some real world situation from your terminal. This is that was nice to build. It's always nice to build anything related to Stripe. They are.
Yeah, it's a really good tool.
Oh yeah, they are so developer focused. This is just work. The experience is nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and that's basically it.
So a lot of things going on. That's cool. It's nice to hear that you're landing some big clients for the SaaS product.
Oh yeah, totally. This is a market I think I will be able to open. It's in the service market, if you will, and I was not really thinking that people that are selling in person were going to be interested to the platform at this stage, but now this opens the the opportunity for me to continue to expand the in-person sale in the e-commerce module, for example. So now, I mean, yeah, hello Square, I'm coming. All right, we are back. It's the second time that Morten closed me like that, so it's probably time for me to shut up, probably. So it's your turn.
I think this is Linux issues. I don't know, my Wi-Fi just, I don't know, died, something like that. Which I've been looking into buying a MacBook again, like a laptop MacBook, which now I'm starting to get more and more convinced about. I don't know. I'll have to restart the computer and see if that does the trick. But yeah, fun times. So I forgot where we ended up. I think.
Oh well, no, I was just saying that Stripe was really nice.
Yeah.
To build upon or on top of. The CLI is the attention to detail. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it's next level. I was really, really happy working with it. And then I switched over to Polar because I didn't want to deal with taxes and VAT. But they actually have decent CLI integration as well. But of course, not to the same level as Stripe. That is, really great product.
Nice. Is it a EU product?
It's not. I mean, it's probably grow out of like EU having to deal with different tax rates when you sell stuff online, having to report it. So they did a lot of the same. They're essentially like a merchant of record.
It's like Paddle probably.
Yeah, like Paddle. I did use Paddle, but not such a nice like developer experience. So Polar is definitely like let's be Stripe, but as a merchant of record. And now Stripe is also trying to be a merchant of record. So there's definitely options in the market, but this is the whole dealing with taxes in the EU. That it's kind of like a thing you have to do unless. Well, you can get around it by doing like there's limits to how much you need to sell before you have to start paying different tax rates, and then there's like if you have a higher tax rate in your country, then you can always just say that I'm charging that, and I don't know, it's complicated. Yeah, and some people are like, oh, I don't want to just do this, and it's like, but you still need to, report it. And anyway, Anyway,
no, totally.
This is Euro maxing or whatever Twitter is calling it. Cool.
Yeah,
I'm thinking if I have anything interesting to tell. Maybe the fact that I've started to work on like the community edition of DeployCrate. I can't remember if we talked about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I basically realized that I was really trying not to sell to developers because it's always hard to sell to a group of people who have there's of the opinion that they can build it themselves and they are probably right. It's not that they are not right. So I was kind of like, let's try not to sell to that population. And then I have another friend who's also building something he's technical, but he's not a developer. So he's a product manager. And he was like, well, if I ever get to the point where I would need something like what you're building, it would still be a developer who is taking that decision. Right. So that was like, yeah, that makes sense. So that led me down the path that I actually was originally intended on doing, which was do like a open source version and then a cloud version. So that is what I've been spending a lot of time on the last few weeks, or actually the last 2 weeks, I think, 1 week or 2 weeks, getting a cloud version of this running, which is nice. I basically just fast-tracked it with a lot of AI. So last week I built like the whole MVP purely using Codex, and now now I have to pay the bill, clean up all the bad code, But exploring a little bit of using the AI again to build out the API in a way. To like how should this feel? What should be there? What should not be there? So now I have where you basically just you set up a new server, you run the Bootstrap CLI. It's create backups of the main data, like the application database, and the server. You can connect resources through like databases or caches, and then inject that into your application environment secrets, create backups, and one of the big things I started doing was using build packs. So I'm all container native now in this open source version. But the build packs is really cool. It's really
like,
cool.
Heroku was doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is great. I mean, I was like always like, I kind of want to have containers and like binaries, but if you look at it from like a product standpoint, like the connect GitHub and push to whatever branch you want to push to and have it build and release, that is quite amazing. So I have all of that in place now. You connect your GitHub account, you specify what branch you want to push on, and then deploy it. So it's coming along. It's still private. It's still in a private repository because I have this debate with myself about wanting to open source it or just make it available for free. I think because when you, it's the thing when you open source it, it's there for people to say, I don't know, cloud copy paste, and then add on top of it. So is this like, I'm really skeptical if this is still like a valid path forward in terms of like having the cloud version as well. But then on the other sense, like a lot of these tools is not really, they're not just one prompt away. Like this requires work, this requires knowledge, right? But it's not without the realm of possibilities that someone who knows a little bit of infrastructure could not recreate these type of products, right? So there's a little bit, so this like, should I really like open source the code? But on the other side, this is also a way to create trust that the code is there and you can verify at least what the developer or the community edition of the product does, and then always jump over to the cloud and then simply provide a better, a good enough experience is probably the word I'm looking for.
So it's a separate code base than your DeployCrate, main offering.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So I think right now is what I'm gonna do is I took what I already built originally and then I turned that into what I wanted for the community edition. And then once I'm happy with the community edition, I'm gonna release it into the world, see if that gives any types of interest. And if it does not, I'm probably gonna kill it and move on to something else. And then just have the open source version be live and slowly like add to that and work on that, right? So that no time is wasted in that sense. But if there's like some interest and some traction, then take the community edition and use that as like the base for my for some type of cloud offering in the market. Yeah. So that's kind of like the strategy right now. I think I read this article. Or no, it was an article. Maybe it was a podcast, but this guy was saying like, do the hardest thing you can. Like the era of doing the simple thing the era of doing something very niche down, where your competitive advantage is that you can code and the rest of market would have to hire developers. That seems to be gone. There's a big discussion about this online, right? Where a lot of the indie hacker, bootstrapper markets are probably seeing a lot of diminishing returns right now from the fact that their product solved the problem, but maybe was not incredibly complex in a way, so that it's something that you could technically vibe code a version of yourself in a weekend. And if you're at that niche that used to be an area you could make a decent living for yourself, but it seems like that is going a little bit away, or at least maybe in the current state of things, people are seeing slowdown in that area. And then I can definitely feel that I can do more with AI. I can do a lot more and have a lot bigger target or technical area that I can tackle on my own. If I'm being careful, if I'm taking you take 10 steps forward and then you need to take at least 5 steps back instead of taking two like you used to. Like we used to cheat all the time and creating like, oh, we know this code is a little bit crap, but I will fix it later. Right now you definitely can do that, but like going back and fixing it. Like if you can have that discipline and keep that balance, I think you can start to do some really interesting or a lot bigger projects yourself, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that is kind of where I'm at with DeployCrate, and will probably, if I end up building the cloud version, be a completely different beast than I first envisioned. Will probably be fully managed infrastructure. When and if I'm done with the cloud version.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm debating if I should go with Kubernetes or if I should continue with my own little not little, but I also like the original version had this like crate operator that would manage the server and deployments and recognition. So I'm kind of like, should I stay there or should I go with the Kubernetes route? But I have never really worked directly with Kubernetes, so I'm also very hesitant. I would rather just have like a event-based system. So my idea was to take something like Nets and have like Nets be part of like a private network and have then communicate changes out to these different servers based on whatever is being triggered in the main control plane. Because that will also more easily allow me to have offers to people that, hey, you can bring your own server. So say you're on the enterprise plan, you can bring your own server as long as it's, let's say, Debian or Ubuntu. You essentially just need to install this agent that will configure, or you can skip whatever you want. Like it's easier to put it into that and minimize what it can do versus with at least for my understanding of Kubernetes, you can maybe leak some stuff into other people if you let them bring their own server, right? So if they can access that server and that server is part of the Kubernetes cluster, but already there I'm starting to get shaky because I know containerization, but I've not worked directly enough with Kubernetes to know if it's really a good idea, right? So
yeah, same for me, to be honest. Kubernetes was overkill for me.
Yeah. And I think the one of the things I want to explore at one point was to offer like isolated units of a server. So I don't really. There's another guy who's building something called PrimCloud, and he's doing it like so. That's like a subscription, and then you pay for your usage, so it scales up and down, which I guess makes sense. There's a lot of those models out there already. So I'm kind of like thinking of having a fleet of servers where you can kind of like, they're always on in a way, but it's just like you get a chunk of that server and then start to aim for small software. There was an entry on that on Y Combinator's. They have a website for request for startups, and there's like a request for cloud for small software, which was sort of where I was heading already. So having like these more logical chunks of a server, and make it easy to spin up like a database for that little app you have. So that's where a lot of the databases and what I call our resource now in the product is just in Docker. So the database is in Docker, the cache is in Docker, which for most little apps is fine, right? But as soon as you start to get like, let's say, quote unquote, a real app, you need like a physical or a native installation so you can fine tune it to the system and all those kind of things. But for little things, do you really need that? No. So I feel like I'm rambling a little bit now. I'm basically just dumping my brain from the last 2 weeks of what I've been thinking.
No,
about.
but I understand what you're saying. But you can still tweak your Postgres instance in a Docker container as much as you can a native installation.
Can you? I've been reading it. I've been trying to explore it a lot, and I always end up like there's some something with the system's memory that is more efficient on a native installation or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, maybe I don't really know, to be frank. I was more asking a question than stating a fact. But yeah, okay, maybe due to Docker way of handling memory and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those, like, it's also where you have to be pragmatic. Because one of the things I always really liked from Heroku was the review environments. And one of my ideas was to create like a really nice CLI where people could just tell Claude or Codex or whatever, hey, spin up a review environment for this PR, and I need to have like this type of data, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then in that use case, having like the Dockerized applications, Dockerized databases is just so nice, because either you have like one quote unquote cluster running that you just create a database inside, or you just spin up an image, doesn't really matter, Postgres 17 Alpine, and that I think is a really nice use case, and that was like kind of like the vision where I wanted to end up, and that fits really well, I think, into this like cloud for small software, or maybe also like just because we are doing more. Like what is this? There's this paradox of you get more efficient, which creates more stuff. I can't remember the not Jehovah, but so I think it's something with a J. I forget the name. But like the more efficient something becomes, the more you get of it, right? And I always
the other Jehovah.
yeah. Exactly. And I think I've seen a lot of people when I'm working in companies would kind of treat staging as both a demo environment, but also like what is supposed to be from engineering standpoints, like a final checks environment. And I think like this tight integration, like create some APIs that are safe in the sense, like you can just give, like these APIs, you can just give an agent access to and say you do whatever you want to do with these APIs, because underneath it you can limit it. Like you can only do so much, whatever, right? That's just simple API design. And then say like, hey, create an environment based on master and go research this customer. We need some data based on the migrations we have, and then just provide those APIs to do that. And then you're like, okay, here you go. Here's the environment spun up with a domain, and then you do the demo with the client that has like specific data.
Could also be used to try and resimulate a bug that happened in production, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that, because let's say something with money transaction happens. You don't want to send a couple of the programmers to redo the same transaction, and in an isolated environment like that, it could be very nice to you can try to apply a fix, rerun the things. If it does not work, still it's not terrible. It's completely isolated and whatnot. But the amount of configuration that you need to it's not just the database. It's all the external dependencies that are hard to set in a preview or isolated environment. That is the problem. So often it's not on your shoulder, but it's on the shoulders of the developers that would want to use your thing. It's not everyone that will think to to mock Stripe, for example, in that environment. So yeah.
No. There's definitely some more work to be done.
Well, it's not really on you. I mean, you cannot handle all the dependencies and whatnot. But
I get what you're saying, but in another way, I will say it kinda is. If you want to create this type of experience, because one thing I'm also trying to do is like, how do I take open telemetry data and make the system as close to self-regulating as possible or self-healing as possible, right? So I think there's just, maybe it's not even possible for me to do anything about this, because of course if you do something like Stripe, you need to mock it, or you need to set up a sandbox environment. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's on the shoulders of the developers. So they need to ensure that when they are in a preview, it's using their test keys and sandbox environment and whatnot. So I mean, this is not a huge thing to do, but they still need to do that. Yeah. Otherwise, well, I thought I was on a preview, but boom, it's hitting the real Stripe account.
I mean, one concept I'm really I'm maybe forcing a little bit too much into it, but it's the concept of a resource, which I'm right now have as like a resource is something that lives independently of your application, but your application needs that thing to work.
Okay.
You could also call it a service, and right now it's mainly like databases and caches. I mean, that could also technically be a payment resource where you would have like the credentials, the endpoint, right? So, yeah, I think it's fun to play around with it because maybe this could be like a way to do that. So it's like, there will be some configuration up front, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can expose good APIs, then it is maybe again the agents can do most of this work for you.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Where do you define those resources?
Just in the right now everything is in the web page, right, in the web dashboard. So
okay, yeah.
The CLI is still like a little brainchild, something up in my brain. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
So now you just you go in and playing a little bit around with how the UI should look, but it's essentially just you do a Docker image, you give it a name, a container, a volume if you need it. You, in the case of a database, you would have like a admin user, a super user, and then you have like an application user that you can provide like a username, password. And then I'm trying to standardize the concept of an endpoint. Like how can you access this resource either on localhost or on the private network? Because after our talk with OnCloud,
yep.
Where he talked about WireGuard, I'm all in. I love the concept. I think it's so cool. So everything is like in a WireGuard network, so you can share the resources across server nodes if you wanted to. So that's like the concept of an endpoint. And then when you attach that, let's say a database to an environment, it would inject the data needed to connect to that database in the secrets, right? And that could be like called, you can name it whatever you want, but it could be like database URL or whatever, and then it would inject that into the environment so that you manage it in one place, which is in the resource. And then when you change it, you will see it because I have like a digest of all the secrets, and then you can see like if it's deployed or not. So you have like a visual indicator, and then you of course need to redeploy. So I'm trying to shoehorn a lot of stuff into this resource concept because I think mentally it makes a lot of sense to treat all of this stuff outside. Maybe I need to split it up, maybe I don't. But for now, it's literally just like hammering as much as possible into this concept because I think when you look at like, you think of these stuff as a resource. Maybe you think of them as a service as well. That could also be fair. But then you start to get into territory of what is a service. Like, do you have a background queue worker? That is probably also a service. But you could also argue that Amazon's SES is a service, but that could also be that's like it's muddy. So,
Wow. Sounds interesting though. I mean, it's a cool project.
Yeah, it's really fun to build. Especially after you got me hooked on SPAs again through inertia. I have to admit, it's through inertia.
Yeah.
But it's like I just use Svelte because Svelte doesn't come with the shadow DOM, and they seem to be writing a decent. I don't know because I only wrote React professionally, but like give it access to ChatCDN. The dashboard is okay. It definitely has a lot of like LLM isms and stuff that needs to get fixed, right? But that was why I was like I was trying to go back to the whole like let me just try and run as fast as possible with LLM to get the feel of the product right. Because I know where I want to go, and I know I can probably get this right if I sit down and do it myself, but I cannot do that in 1 week. Because right now I have like the CLI, the bootstrapping, the connecting of nodes. I have backups. I have applying a backup. There's so much functionality that I have in 1 week's work that maybe now will take me 2 weeks to, make it good. But at least you get to the point where, okay, this data model actually fits very well into the UI and, So.
Oh yeah, I think we cannot really fight that. It's as long as we continue to improve what it's outputted. I mean, what can you do? I mean, it's still progressing way faster that way. Even if you, like you said, even if you put 2 weeks of fixing everything, it's still way faster than writing everything yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is especially with new products where you have like a vision, you know where you want to go, but you're not really sure because there's so many options. And this is where I think the LLM really shines, that you can test out all of these options. But it's a tool that you need to learn how to work with. And I have definitely been in both camps on these tools, like full on, let's go, and full on, like, no, forget about it. And now I'm trying to be right in the middle again.
Yeah, I was there since the beginning, to be frank, in the middle. Well, not really. I was in the no camp for a long time. Been using that since October 25. Frankly, I mean, again, like you said, it's just a tool, right?
Yeah.
But, and yeah, I think it's there. We like it or not, it's there.
It's not going to go away. I think.
No,
I don't think necessarily that is Sam Altman and Dario and all of those people that are going to be sitting on the throne in the end. But I definitely don't think it's going to go away, especially with the Chinese labs getting to the level that they are getting at now. I mean, you could argue that if it was still closed source and they don't find a way to make money, then it could maybe go away. Maybe, but then all those people that work will probably, blah, blah, blah. But since it's open sourced and open weight, no, it's not open source, it's open weight models, right? No, it's here.
Interesting.
Plus, we have to listen to Elon Musk explain how he completely fails in understanding how an economy works. That's also interesting. If you listen to his latest interview with The Economist, where he's like arguing for the fact that we will have robots which would then use AI. So we have like bringing like that, like artificial intelligence into the real world. And then we would just have an abundance. So nobody needs to work. But it's like, but who owns this? Who decides? But it's like, imagine you can just get anything you want. It's like, yeah, that's a nice thought, Elon. But you know that is not true because you own all the things. So
right.
no, that's a side rant, but that's the dystopian.
I tend to not listen to what he say. He says. To be frank, I'm staying far from that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love SpaceX. I think that is so interesting. So I kind of suck it up on a lot of the crazy things he says. Right? Yeah.
Ah well, we will survive, man.
Yeah. It will be all good.
Yeah, I hope. We'll see.
It'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for this week, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. See you, man.
See you.